Okay, today we're going to talk about the mole. This is a bit of a tricky idea, so let's put our thinking caps on. Um, when I say it's a tricky idea, it's actually a really simple idea, but it often gets people all wrapped up and confused. I want you to keep it nice and simple. Keep repeating this mantra. The mole is just a way of counting. All right. Imagine we had a bunch of atoms in our hand. We picked up some carbon or something. We wanted to count the atoms. We could count them individually. We can go one atom, two atoms, three atoms, four atoms, five atoms, six atoms. But it would take forever, and the numbers would be too big. We'd end up with this ridiculous number of atoms, wouldn't we? And if we're trying to do mathematics, and every number that we used was this big number, I mean, our calculators would explode. It would be annoying, right? We could also count them in dozens, couldn't we? Right? We could go 1 dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen, 4 dozen, 5 dozens. But again, it's still going to be a big, big number. You know what I mean? Like we could divide that by 16 and see how many dozens of atoms there are. So by 12 and see how many dozens there are. But it's still going to be a huge number, right? So instead, what we do is we count them by 6.02 by 10 to the 23s, right? So this is 1 mole, right? It's, you know, 6.022 by 10 to the 23 atoms, but it's considered to be 1 mole. Just the same as 1 dozen is 12. 1 mole is 6.022 by 10 to the 23, right? A few more decimal places there, but don't worry about them. 6.022 will be enough, right? Okay, let me explain in further details. We could count these pigs. We could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 pigs. Good. We could count the pairs of pigs. We could go 1 pair of pigs, 2 pairs of pigs, 3 pairs of pigs. There are 3 pairs of pigs. We could count the dozens of pigs. There are half a dozen pigs, right? You can see that it's getting easier. This is the same thing again, right? We could also count the number of pig's ears, right? Well, there are 1 dozen pig's ears, aren't there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But if we're counting in dozens, it'd be 1 dozen pig's ears. Okay? With me so far? We've counted the pigs. We could count the number of moles of water inside this glass, and perhaps be 3 moles of water. Right? So that means inside this glass, there are 3 times 6.02 to the 10 to the 23. There's 1.8 by 1.807 by 10 to the 24 atoms of water in the glass. Right? So whenever you see a question, it's like how many atoms of carbon, how many atoms of fluorine, how many atoms of water are there in 3 moles? Well, we'll just times 3 by this standard number. We're going to have to memorize it, 6.02 by 10 to the 23, right? It's probably going to be given to you, but it's also nice to memorize. 6.022 by 10 to the 23. Now, a more difficult question is count the number of hydrogen atoms. Remember how we're counting pig's ears over here? For every 1 pig, we have 2 ears, right? For every 1 water, we have 2 hydrogens, right? So just as we had, half a dozen pigs, there are 2 ears per pig. That means we have a full dozen of ears. We have for 3 moles of water, right? For 3 moles of water, for 3 moles of water, we're going to have 1.807 by 10 to the 24 atoms, right? And therefore, we times that by 2 is 3.6 by 14, right? Another way to think about it is for every 3 moles of water, we're going to have 6 moles of hydrogen. For every half a dozen pigs, we're going to have a full dozen ears. For every 3 moles of water, we're going to have 6 moles of hydrogen, and therefore 6 times 6.02 by 10 to the 23 is 3.614 by 10 to the 24, right? It's just a way of counting. We could count in pairs of atoms. We could count in dozens of atoms. We could count in single atoms. It's just the mathematics would be too awkward. So instead, we do it in moles. The only kind of questions you'll be asked are, how many atoms are there in X number of moles of this compound? Answer the question below, and I'll see you in class.